Well, I think we've been hearing for the last several hours that Fox had 24 million viewers, a record. So we on the Mark Levin Show want to congratulate Fox on their new record of 24 million viewers, many of whom were fairly disgusted by what they saw. Many of whom were liberals, probably laughing and having a great time. Oh, the missed opportunity. And what do I mean by that? We have some tremendous candidates, incredibly intelligent, who've done magnificent things, who are serious about trying to restore the republic and save the country from a catastrophe. After this presidency, this disastrous presidency, and for at least the first full hour or so of this so-called debate, I thought it was a reality TV show. I don't dump on Brett Baier. I think he's the one serious journalist who was there. And I don't know why he didn't have the center chair. But that tells you all you need to know. In many respects, the unseriousness of this, the disrespectfulness to certain candidates who deserved better, disrespectful to we, the audience, and the process. I've been around a long time. I've watched a lot of debates. As you well know, I worked in 2 campaigns. I've never seen anything like this. In many respects, it was a spectacle. 8 more to go. Can only imagine what the so-called liberal news outlets are going to do now. They're going to want to outdo Fox, no question, which has been praised by the New York Times, praised by CNN. I almost feel like there was another agenda going on here, a ratings agenda. The constant hype, push. I didn't mind the first question at all about the third party. We already knew it, though. We already knew the answer. And when and if Donald Trump comes on this program next week, I'm going to continue to bore down on that. That's a serious matter as far as I'm concerned. But when you have 2 hours and 10 candidates, and a third of the time is spent by the moderators, over a half hour, that means the candidates get 6 or 7 minutes if they're lucky. We're not there to watch the moderators. This isn't about them. Quite frankly, this isn't about Fox. Quite frankly, this isn't about 24 million viewers to show great ratings splashed all over the internet. This is about us and our country. This is a deadly serious matter. Now, I don't expect moderators to be sops, but I don't expect them to be fools either. I mean, I was sitting there shaking my head, and I wasn't the only one. So many issues. I was wondering, before the debate, how are they going to cover all these issues with all these candidates? They had no intention of covering all these issues with all these candidates. First and foremost, it was about the moderators and their network. That's why they took 1/3 of the time. Are they running for something? We have a right to know the position of these candidates on a whole wide variety of issues. That's the purpose of a debate. I was a debater. This isn't a debate. It's a reality show. I don't ever want to hear about the attacks on talk radio again emanating from cable TV. This is the most substantive, intelligent, thoughtful format in communications, in media, period. You can't get away with any of this on talk radio. This creates an atmosphere for the next 8 debates, and the Democrats are loving it. You know who enjoyed this debate the most last night? Barack Obama. Barack Obama. And the contrast between the 5 p.m. and the 9 p.m. debate Eastern Time couldn't be greater. 2 real journalists at the 5 p.m. debate who did a good job, a very good job. A very good job. But we're all here congratulating our friends at Fox. They got their 24 million viewers. Greatest ever non-sport event in history on cable. And, of course, that's what matters. You know, I haven't announced who I'm supporting, and I'm not going to announce for a while. I haven't done infomercials for Donald Trump, and I'm getting tired of these infomercials for Donald Trump. And I'm also getting tired of these lies and these attacks on Trump. I don't like bullies. And that second question out of the box last night was premeditated. That second question out of the box, Megyn Kelly on her own didn't ask that question. That had to be approved by executives over there at Fox. They carefully stage managed this event. So that question was carefully stage managed. Wasn't a counter question. It wasn't an hour into the debate. It was planned. It was written. Every syllable was known in advance. And the minute she asked that question, I said to myself, what the hell is going on here? What the hell is this? What the hell is going on here? They wanted a spectacle. The question itself was a spectacle. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to be misinterpreted. A lot of these liberal blogs, they'll put headlines on, Levin trashes Fox, Levin trashes Kelly, Levin does this. I am telling you what I think. I am not trashing anybody. I am explaining what I saw and giving you my take on it as somebody who is very serious about what's going on in this country, and we have precious few opportunities to present a philosophy, arguments, to make distinctions, to put things in context, and to find the right candidate to run for president of the United States. Is that asking too much? Apparently so. This is why every time the media is rated by you, you detest them. They're lower than Congress. They're lower than the courts. They're lower than the president. And now I have to discuss with you Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell. Why? Because the second question during the debate with 24 million viewers, a record in all of history, was a reality TV question. Well, Mark, Trump's got to answer these questions. I'm not even defending Trump. I'm defending the truth. Well, Mark, he's got to be prepared to answer this question because of the Democrats. Fine, then let the Democrats ask it. We're trying to sort through the Republicans to determine who we want to nominate to take on the Democrats. We don't need everybody mimicking the Democrats. Ask some questions that are pertinent to we the people. Constitutional conservatives, independents, Republicans. It's the Republican primary, after all. Ask some questions relevant to us. And what is this abortion stuff? Every one of them getting hammered because they're pro-life. Let me suggest that when a moderator, quote-unquote, has an agenda, he or she should try and at least conceal it somewhat. But don't worry, 24 million viewers. Woo. Wow, that's just cool. Now, to be fair and balanced on this program, since that second question to Trump really, from my perspective, virtually destroyed the entire nature of this debate and turned it in so much reality TV. The first hour was just disastrous from my point of perspective anyway. Many of you may disagree. What was it that Rosie O'Donnell did or said? And why didn't the moderator present that information or put it in some form of context when she asked the question? All we heard are cherry-picked nasty words. Don't get me wrong, words I wouldn't use to describe a woman, but still, cherry-pick these words. We didn't know the context. Most of us don't watch The View. We don't know what the hell's going on. But we know Trump said these words about a woman or women. Well, what happened? Which is the longer cut, Mr. Producer? You have that there? Go ahead and start. I want you to listen. I don't want to take this show, my show there, but we have to. Go ahead.
Donald Trump is in the news again because because his show, The Apprentice, is starting again in January.
Oh, yeah.
He held a big press conference to see if he was going to allow Miss USA, such a prestigious title, to regain and retain. Miss America is the prestige. Miss USA is a different thing.
Representing America in a bathing suit.
Yes, it's basically a model competition. Let's be realistic, okay?
What about peace in the world? They always want peace in the world.
They have one question in Miss USA.
Now let's stop. So I'm sure the moderator who was so offended by what Trump said is offended by the mocking of other women by the leftist kooks on The View. Mocking women, mocking them, mocking them, mocking them. Go ahead.
Sir, and end world hunger. And then I'd like to go to Studio 54 and do some crack. But apparently, this young girl, Tara Connor, how old is she? 21. She went out and she was partying. She's from Kentucky.
She's so cute.
She went to New York and she was hanging out at all the parties, doing what Paris and Lindsay do, dancing, whatever. And so he held a press conference to announce whether or not she was going to retain her crown.
Yeah.
And then she started to cry.
She did.
So I just want to thank Donald is giving me a second chance.
It was brilliant.
And there he is, hair looping, going, everyone deserves a second chance.
He's mocking him.
I'm going to give her a second chance.
Your hair is perfect for that.
Listen, he annoys me on a multitude of levels. He's the moral authority. Left the first wife, had an affair. Left the second wife, had an affair.
There she is, attacking him, his family, his wives, his kids. Go ahead.
Moral compass for 20-year-olds in America. Donald, sit and spin, my friend. I don't enjoy him. No.
This is the thing. You say what you want to say about it.
Let's stop. So I want you to understand, folks, at least in part, this was the basis for the second question at a presidential debate. The View, which makes a mockery of women all the time. The View, which is nothing but a nasty gossip program. This was the basis, in part, for the second question in this debate. And in part, this is what Trump was responding to. An attack on him, a vicious attack on his ex-wives, his relationship with them, and his children. And she mocked him, and she flipped her hair over and did an imitation of him. Fine. And he responded. He may not have responded in a way that you and I would have responded, but he responded. He defended himself, and he defended his family, and he called her names. So why didn't the moderator who presented this case, who's a lawyer, fill in some of the gaps and explain what he was responding to? It's not, you've called women B-word, and you've called them this, and you've called them that. That is bad. I get it. But is that what he does? He walks around calling women names? Actually, that's not what he does. The question was utterly unfair and non-factual because it was out of context. And what about this, a woman on her knees? You've said that this woman would look good on her knees. Well, that woman has responded. The woman he told that to. And when we come back, I want you to hear what she says. And it's very unfortunate that I have to waste valuable time dealing with this, but if I don't do it, nobody else will. Now, Trump was accused by the moderator asking the second question. And keep in mind, I haven't endorsed Trump. I doubt that I'm going to, as a matter of fact. But that has nothing to do with this. Nothing. In fact, let's go ahead and play it. Cut 7, Mr. Producer. Go.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals.
Now, let me stop right there. As an attorney, and she's one and I'm one, exactly whom are you talking about? What is the source and what's the context? No, those words are not acceptable, but I'm still asking. We want to know. I mean, at least he's not accused of rape. Oh, they tried that with Ivana Trump. Remember that, Mr. Producer? And she came out and said baloney. But Bill Clinton is accused officially, on the record, of rape, which was ignored by the media for months. Maybe he didn't use these words, but he used something else. Go ahead.
Twitter account.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't. Your Twitter account.
Thank you.
For the record, it was well beyond Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes, I'm sure it was.
Your Twitter account has several disparaging comments about women's looks. You once told a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice it would be a pretty picture to see her on her knees.
Stop. You once told a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice it would be a pretty picture to see her on her knees. She's reading this. So this was done with forethought. Every syllable was planned in advance. So the researchers did the research. This was approved, had to be, by management. You once told a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice it would be a pretty picture to see her on her knees. That's pretty grotesque, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead, Mr. Producer.
Does that sound to you like the temperament of a man we should elect as president?
All right, let's stop right there. So that's the specific example she gives, asking about his temperament. And by the way, you may have legitimate questions about his temperament. I am drilling down on what took place. This isn't about, oh, you support him, you don't support him. I am disgusted with the lost opportunity here. That this would be the second question, setting the stage for the rest of the hour. This is our country. This is the Republican primary process. Our primary process. Not the news media. Not any news media. This isn't about hosts. It isn't about their ratings. It's about our country. Now, you want to know the facts about that? Because if I don't tell you the facts, you're not going to know the facts about that. And I've never met Mr. Trump. I've never played golf with Mr. Trump. I've never gone to any clubs with Mr. Trump. I've never had a meal with Mr. Trump. Nothing. Zero. I don't have a dog in this fight, except integrity. Donald Trump on the Morning Joe this morning, and I never play crap from that crap show, but I will now. Hat tip, right scoop, cut 24, go.
I don't remember that on The Apprentice, and I don't know where they got some of these words, to be honest with you. In fact, I'm going to have somebody call up and find out where these words came from.
Well, they found the words, and they were perfectly innocent. Donald Trump on season 6 of The Apprentice. Now, by the way, that means that our good friends at Fox went through The Apprentice, the various shows of The Apprentice, the season of The Apprentice, went back and looked at his Twitter and his Facebook, trying to dig, like opposition research, trying to dig stuff up. Here we, the people, we want to know their views on a whole host of issues. 10 candidates, 2 hours, let's get with it. This is what they did. They turned it into the National Enquirer. I say this with enormous regret. Cut 25, go. This is from The Apprentice.
Brandy came in here, she got down on her knees and said, I passionately want to do this. I, at this point, am the team chooser, not the team leader yet.
Excuse me, you dropped to your knees.
Yeah.
And begged to do this. And I said, I'm looking around the room, and we had even LaToya, who sat beside me, thought maybe Brandy was
Must be a
right.
pretty picture you dropped to
John
your
and
knees.
Dennis thought I should be. Omarosa said me. Some other people said you.
A pretty picture to see her drop on her knees. That wasn't in a sexual context. The context was she dropped to her knees begging whomever it was to do a particular task or not do a particular task, which is the nature of The Apprentice, which I never really watched, but other people watched. So it is assumed that it's a sexual innuendo when the context suggests it's not. But it's certainly not clear-cut at all, and from my perspective, it's not at all a sexual innuendo. And yet that's the specific example that is used against him. After all the background search that must have been done, this is season 6 of The Apprentice. They were looking and looking. This is question number 2 in a Republican presidential debate. Well, he's going to have to learn to answer these questions. Really? This is a Republican primary process. We want to pick our nominee. Then we'll duke it out with the sleazeballs on the left. Now, Brandy Roderick, if you don't believe me, she's the Apprentice contestant who dropped to her knees. And here's what she said about all of this. Maybe they should have talked to her before this was such a seminal point in question number 2. Cut 26. Go.
I actually didn't even remember, like him, I didn't even remember him saying that. And from the clip, you can see all he was reacting to was, what he thought it would have looked like. But, I've always had a positive experience around Donald. He's always been encouraging. He's never been disrespectful to me. I don't condone men being derogatory, but I think he was just, he's on television. He's trying to be funny. I don't think that he meant anything, horrible by it.
So here I've had to spend over 40 minutes of my program in the first hour dealing with this, addressing this. I am still stunned by this. Where we have accomplished men on the stage, 10 of them, governors, former governors, senators, who are vying to be the Republican nominee for President of the United States. We're facing enemies all around us, the Islamo-Nazis in Tehran. Imagine if I ran for president, what they'd be running. The Islamo-Nazis in Tehran, the Red Chinese on the rise, the Russians on the move. They just attacked the Pentagon, cyber war. The economy is lousy. By the way, Megan, I'm going to show you your war on women. And by the way, the women I were sitting with yesterday were not very happy with you. I'm just saying. Each one of them said, you don't represent them. Why do you claim to defend them? This isn't personal. I'm not accusing people of things. I'm not taking things out of context. I'm challenging. Up on the Drudge Report, among other things, record 56,209,000 women are not working. A record. Obama is waging a war on women. Liberals are waging a war on women. Democrats are waging a war on women. This is their economy. This is their government. These are their policies. Wouldn't it have been nice if this was discussed? More. Ready for this one? 100% of the jobs that women hold, female employment gains, since 2007, by foreigners. Let me repeat that. 100% female employment gains taken by foreigners since 2007. That sounds like a war on American women. Not one question related to this. Instead, we have to hear about stuff that's cherry-picked out of season 6 of The Apprentice, stuff that's cherry-picked from The View, and Trump's battle with Rosie O'Donnell. And I'm shaking my head watching this and saying, what the hell is this? But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. 24 million viewers. That is a record for cable TV in a non-sporting event. Congratulations.